Hello students, I hope you all doing great. And I hope you read the story and did the assignment which I asked you to write in your own words. Then, shall we recall the story quickly? Yes, what is the topic? The envious neighbor. What's the meaning of envious? Envious meaning jealous. Okay, neighbor next to our house. What are the main characters in this story? A good old couple, honest couple, then wicked old couple, isn't it? Then one dog. To whom this dog belongs to? Belongs to whom? That good old couple, isn't it? Then what was the story begins? Yes, these people had, good couple had the pet dog, then they were sharing titbit. Do you remember the meaning of titbit? Whatever they eat, delicious food, share to this dog, isn't it? Then they were very happy with this dog. Then one day they took this dog to the garden. They were farmer, so went to the garden. There it was jumping, playing here and there. Then suddenly it stopped a while and started to bark at seeing a place. Okay. Then so they thought, this good old couple, they thought it may be delicious things to eat. So they brought the spade. What's the meaning of spade? It's a kind of tool to dig the ground. Okay. Dug that, they got a treasure, isn't it? They shocked by seeing this treasure, and they gathered, collected all this and shared. They are good people. They shared some to poor people. Gave alms. What's the meaning of alms? Food or money give to poor people. Okay. They gave, and the rest of the remaining money, they with that treasure they bought a rice field, a corn field, all these things, and they become wealth, isn't it? That was then when this neighbors, next to their wicked couple, come to know that, what did they do? They came here to borrow this dog. What is the opposite of borrow? Lend. Okay. So they borrowed this dog and they set out a delicious feast in front of this dog and requested to this dog, what is, please show us the treasure place, like they requested, polished, butter up. But this dog, it didn't bark. Why? Because it had a bitter experience with this wicked people. Because whenever this dog passes on their way, they kicked it and bet this dog, so that it was so adamant to bark. It didn't. It was just mum. Okay, so silent. So they got furious anger, get cross. What's the meaning of cross? Angry, isn't it? They got angry, annoyed, irritated, and they tied a rope on its neck and taken to the garden, isn't it? Then they took a round, but this dog, it didn't bark. Finally, on spot, it stopped for a while and sniffed. Sniffed means smelled that place. Immediately they brought the tool and started to dig. For their surprise, what was there? Offal. What's the meaning of offal? Which means, yes, decayed body parts of the animals, which was horrible smell also. They couldn't bear the smell, they couldn't stand even there. So they got furious, they got angry and killed the dog. Actually, they don't have rights to kill the dog because they borrowed from the next two houses, isn't it? But out of anger, they killed the dog. This much we have seen. I hope you remember the story. Next, shall we read? Before that, let me remind you some hard words. What's the meaning of utter? Utter meaning say. Host. What's the meaning of host? One who set out a feast for the guest is host. What's opposite? Guest. Guest opposite? Host. Don't forget this. Then dainties, it's the edible thing. Okay, food only. Morsel or food. Then seized means take hold. Obliged. What's the meaning of obliged? We should be grateful, thankful for a person who did good things for us. Then wagging. Wagging means usually animals wag its tail violently, strongly. Okay. Then treasure. Yeah, of course, valuable object, that is treasure. So I hope it's clear this much. Shall we move on next? Let me read that paragraph. When the good old man saw that the dog whom he had lent did not come home, he went next door to ask what had become of him. And the wicked old man answered that he had killed the dog and buried him at the root of a pine tree. So the good old man with a heavy heart went to the spot. Heavy heart meaning sad, miserable. Okay. With a heavy heart went to the spot, and having set out a tray with a delicate food, delicious food. He burned incense and adorned the grave with flowers as he shed tears over his lost pet. Shed tears, he cried. Okay, here what had happened? See, they were waiting for the dog's arrival, isn't it? But the dog didn't turn. So they went to next door, neighbors, and asked what had happened to my dog. Where is my dog? Like that, this old man asked that neighbors. They said, we killed the dog. See, how dare the people, they have no rights to kill the dog, isn't it? They said, we have killed the dog. He's shocked. Then they said, we have buried the dog under the pine tree. Then this old man, he didn't say a word, utter any word, and with a heavy heart, sad, miserable. Definitely it hurt him, isn't it? Because it's a pet, that one. So with a heavy heart, he went to that place, and he in a tray set out delicious food and some ceremonies. He did that. There, that place, adorned that place with the flowers and lit incense. Incense means joss stick, which usually used in worshipped place, temple or church, wherever. Then near dead bodies also, which spread fragrance. Okay. There he did all these things and shed tears over the loss of this pet dog. Then he got back to home. Clear? Let me read again. Listen carefully. When the good old man saw that the dog whom he had lent did not come home, he went next door to ask what had become of him. And the wicked old man answered that he had killed the dog and buried hidden under the ground at the root of a pine tree. So the good old fellow with a heavy heart went to the spot, and having set out, arranged a tray with a delicate, delicious, edible food, colorful food. He burnt incense, joss stick, and adorned the grave with flowers as he shed tears over his lost pet. Clear? Shall we move on next? Please read after this. Then it is very easy for you to understand the story. You no need to work for this later. It's a very simple story. Next. That night, when the good old man was fast asleep in bed, the dog appeared to him, and after thanking him for all his kindness, said, "Cause the pine tree under which I am buried to be cut down and made into mortar, and use it, thinking of it as if it were myself." Yes, what did the dog say? Yes, next day, when this man did all these things and get back home and slept, okay, this dog appeared in his dream, and it thanked him for doing all these things, lit incense, adorned that place, and set out delicious food for all these kindness. It thanked, grateful, isn't it? It thanked him, and it said, "You do one thing, you cut down the pine tree and make a mortar out of this wood, and use it. While using it, you think about me, okay, as if it were myself." That means that dog. So like that it is informed this good old man's dream, okay. Then it disappeared. So immediately The next day, he went there and did what the dog asked him to do. Yes, clear? Let me read. That night when the good old man was fast asleep in bed, the dog appeared to him and after thanking him for all his kindness, said, "Cause the pine tree under which I am buried, hidden underground, to be cut down and made into a mortar." Mortar, you could see the next to that picture, near that pine tree, that mortar is given, okay. And use it, maximum we could see this in all the houses, made up of stone and wood also there, okay. Thinking of it as if it were myself. Yes, here the secret point is, when you are using this mortar, you have to think about this dog. That is what the clue, okay. Yeah, shall we move on next? The old man did as the dog had told him to do. Yes, this old man, he did as the dog asked him to do. He went there and cut down this pine tree and made a mortar out of this wood. And made a mortar out of the wood of the pine tree. But when he ground his rice in it, ground, what is the three form of ground? Grind, ground, okay. Ground, he took a handful of rice and put it into that mortar and started to ground, okay. Yes, everything, each grain of the rice turned into some rich treasure. Yes, all the rice, miracle happened, turned into rich treasure, gold, silver, etc. Then, when the wicked old couple saw this, they came to borrow the mortar, but no sooner did they try to use it, all their rice turned into filth. See, this also heard by these neighbors. If we were in that situation, do we give this mortar to that culprit, wicked neighbors? Never, isn't it? Because they killed our dog, isn't it? They have no rights even. But these people, shameless people, they came again and asked this mortar. They are greedy, okay. So that they came here and they asked, borrowed, okay, this mortar again. This old man also, he gave that. He's a good person, isn't it? He gave the mortar to him. But the main point is, they do not know the secret. What is the secret of this usage of this mortar? When we use that, we have to think about this dog. That secret, this wicked people don't know, right? Yes, here they borrowed this mortar and taken to their home. They took a handful of rice and started to grind, okay. But what happened? There, unfortunately, everything turned into filth. Filth meaning rubbish, okay. Yes, everything turned into dirt. So, in a fit of rage meaning anger, again they got angry, okay. Anger, they broke the mortar and burned it. See the people, yes, what did they do? Yes, they tried that, it didn't work, so that they got angry, okay. Then they break into pieces and burn. Not only that, they burned that, okay. This is what they had done. Yeah, let me read again this. The old man did as the dog had told him to do and made a mortar out of the wood of the pine tree. But when the ground has rice in it, each grain, this good people, it worked. Because when they were using that, they thought about this dog, isn't it? So that everything was cool. Then, when the wicked old couple saw this, they came to borrow the mortar. What is the opposite of borrow? Lent. Okay. But no sooner, immediately they try to use it. All their rice turned to filth because they don't know the secret of the usage, isn't it? They need to think about the dog, then only it works, isn't it? But this wicked people, they don't know about it. So, in a fit of rage, they got very angry. And they broke the mortar and burnt it. Clear? Then, but the good old man, little suspecting that his precious mortar had been broken and burnt, wondered why his neighbors didn't bring it back to him. See, here, What's the meaning of little and a little? Do you know the difference between little and a little? Little means negative, okay, which means nothing. A little, something, okay. So here, this old man, good man, he didn't suspect about this. A little suspect means maybe he had, but here he didn't suspect about this, and that he was thinking why didn't they give back this motor, like that they were thinking, okay. Yes, but the good old man, little suspecting, not at all suspecting, that his precious motor had been broken and burned. He never thought about it. They killed the dog, isn't it? Similarly, they might have destroyed this motor. They didn't think about that. But wondered why his neighbors didn't bring it back to him. Yes, but they were thinking, why didn't they bring it back, isn't it? See, if we borrowed things from others, we have to return it, isn't it? But they didn't. That is what this good man is thinking of it. Clear? What's the meaning of little? Nothing. It's a negative. Okay. Yes. Let's move on next paragraph. One night, the dog appeared to him again in his tree. Yeah, already once it appeared, isn't it? That time it instructed, cut down and make a motor. Then again it appeared in his tree, the second time, and told him what had happened, adding that if he would take the ashes of the burnt motor and sprinkle them on withered trees, the trees would revive and suddenly put out flowers. Yes, here, what happened next? So this old man, that night he was thinking of why didn't they bring back this motor, and he fell asleep. That night again this dog appeared in his dream and it narrated, it informed him, okay, what had happened. What had happened? They break the motor and burned it, isn't it? It informed this old man in his dream. And what did it say? It asked him, you collect the ashes which burned the motor, okay. Asked to whom? This old couple, it asked, this dog asked them, what is, you collect the ashes of it and you just sprinkle the dead trees and it bring back, you can give life to the dead trees. That's what it said. Yes. After saying this, the dream vanished. It is said like this, and then it vanished. And the old man, who heard for the first time of the loss of his motor, ran out weeping to the neighbor's house and begged them at any rate to give him back his ashes to his treasure. Yes, what happened? Yes, when this man, heard this, with a heavy heart, isn't it? He felt very sad and ran to this neighbor's house, and in any rate means whatever happened to that motor, you please at least give the ash. Like that, this old man begged to this wicked people. Okay. Yes, let me read again. Here, at any rate means whatever happened. Revive, give life to the dead trees. What was the secret here? You collect the ashes and sprinkle the ashes on the dead trees. Dead trees already we have seen the withered, isn't it? Meaning of withered. Leaves and all dry and fall down. Branches are empty, isn't it? So if you sprinkle the ashes on this tree, immediately it will bloom. Okay, sprout out and bloom. It is said so. Then, let me read, listen. One night, the dog appeared to him again in dream and told him what had happened, adding that if he would take the ashes of the burnt motor, collect the ashes, okay, you better take the ashes and sprinkle. This is, okay, sprinkle them on withered trees, dead trees, okay, withered, empty. We cannot see any leaves on that trees. Withered trees, the trees would revive, recover. We can give life to that tree and suddenly put out flowers. Like it said and disappeared. After saying this, the dream the dog vanished, disappeared. Vanished meaning disappeared. And the old man, who heard for the first time of the loss of his motor, ran out weeping, crying. Okay, he couldn't bear that, tolerate that. He was crying, burst into tears and ran to that neighbor's house. Here, neighbor's apostrophe, yes, after that apostrophe is given, which means possessive case. Okay, yes, house, and begged them at any rate. Any rate meaning, whatever happened to that motor, please give that. Like that he was begging to him back the ashes of a treasure. Clear? Next. Having obtained it, obtained means received that, he returned home. He collected all this ashes and back to home. And made a trial of their virtues upon a withered cherry tree, which upon being touched by the ashes, immediately began to sprout and blossom. Yes, this old man, he collected all the ashes and back to home. Then he need to try it, isn't it? Whether it's true or not, whether it works, he need to try. So there was a dead cherry tree. So first he went to that, near to that dead cherry tree and took out some ashes and sprinkled on it. Immediately it sprouted. Miracle happened. Okay, sprout and bloom. When he saw this wonderful effect, he put out the ashes into a basket. Yes, then he collected everything and saved it in basket. And went about a country, announcing himself as an old man who had the power of bringing dead trees to life again. Yeah, what did he? He went across the country, all the places, and took this ashes and he announced here, announced that what is I have the power to give life to this dead trees, like he said. Clear? Let me read again. Having obtained meaning received all the ashes. He returned home and made a trial. He need to check that whether it worked. Trial of their virtues upon a withered cherry tree, which upon being touched by the ashes, immediately, he just sprinkled, touched with the ashes. Immediately it sprout. Okay, immediately began to sprout and blossom. When he saw this wonderful effect, he put the ashes into the basket. Not basket, basket pronunciation. And we went about the country, announcing himself as an old man who had the power of bringing dead trees to life again. Yes, he has the power to give life to this, dead tree. I stop here. Rest of the things let's see next class. Before that, let's recall. What's the meaning of filth? Filth meaning rubbish. Fit of rage. What's the meaning of fit of rage? Anger, isn't it? Furious. What is the three form of ground? Grind, ground. Okay. Then, what's the difference between little and a little? Little negative meaning. Nothing is there. Okay. Then a little something. Then revive, recover or restore the life. Restore to life. At any rate, whatever happened, then read this well, and can already, if you have written that, you could continue this much the story, and let's see next class. Thank you.